Hello and welcome to Channels Book Club. I am Olakunle Kasumo. It's great to have you on the show again. Thank you for joining us. As always, for those who follow and engage us on our social media platforms, it is always exciting to chat with you, read your feedback, and respond to your inquiries. Please keep them coming. Like we have been doing recently, let's start today's episode with a brain tickle. People often ask, what is the difference between a novel and a novella or a short story? So three things there: a novel, a novella, and a short story. Let's start with the two often most confused ones, the novel and the novella. Novel and novella are written fictional prose narratives. Put simply, those books you read that are fictional stories. The main difference between them is that a novella is shorter and contains a less complex plot than a novel. Let's be more specific now in defining them. A novel is a long narrative in prose that describes fictional characters and events. It is the longest type of narrative prose fiction in modern literature. A novel generally contains more than 200 pages, above 40,000 words. Novels can be categorized into different genres or types such as supernatural, thriller, fantasy, romance, action, western, paranormal, adventure, and so on. A novella is a written fictional prose narrative that is shorter than a novel and longer than a short story. The word novella is also derived from the Italian word novella, meaning new. A novella generally contains no more than 200 pages, approximately 20,000 to 40,000 words. But this is not a strict rule. Novellas contain fewer characters, themes, and conflicts than a novel. It generally does not contain chapters and is meant to be read in one sitting. A short story, on the other hand, is a brief fictional prose narrative that is shorter than a novella and that usually deals with only a few characters. It is typically between 1,000 and 20,000 words. So you can see that the primary factor that differentiates novel, novella, and short story is length. The shortest is the short story, the longest is the novel, and the novella is somewhere in between. Talking about novels, Onyekon Braithwaite, a Nigerian novelist, has been making waves for some time now. Since writing and publishing her debut novel titled My Sister, the Serial Killer, she has been acclaimed as one of Nigeria's emerging talents. Let me tell you something interesting I experienced sometime last year while in Dallas, Texas, at a big event filled with mostly Americans and people from Europe. I was pleasantly surprised when speaker after speaker referred to Onyekon Braithwaite's book. Note that she was not in attendance. At that time, I had not even read the synopsis of the book, talk less of reading the book itself. I felt really proud as a Nigerian. More recently, Onyekon won the Crime and Thriller Book of the Year award at the British Book Awards for the same novel, My Sister, the Serial Killer. The British Book Awards, or NOBIs, are literary awards for the best United Kingdom writers and their works, administered by the bookseller. Now, let's tell you more about how well the book has been celebrated and about its author. My Sister, the Serial Killer won the 2019 LA Times Award for Best Crime Thriller, the 2019 Morning News Tournament of Books, the 2019 Amazon Publishing Readers Award for Best Debut Novel, and the 2019 Anthony Award for Best First Novel. It was also shortlisted for the Women's Prize for Fiction 2019, the Goodreads Choice Awards 2019 in the Mystery and Thriller and Debut Novel categories, the Cameo Awards 2020 in the Book to Audio category, and the Book Bloggers Choice Awards 2020. It was longlisted for the Booker Prize 2019 and the 2020 Dublin Literary Award. It was also listed as one of Channels Book Club's top 20 Nigerian books for 2019. The book is being translated into 30 languages and has been optioned for film. The thing about most successful debut novels is that their authors usually don't see the success coming. The novels are often products of mere passion and a dream to write. Onyekon seemed to confirm this when she said in an interview she granted,
I couldn't have imagined it in my wildest dreams, but each and every time I win an award, it feels like another pat on the back. I didn't write the book to get published. It was an exercise for myself because I'm terrible when it comes to finishing stories. So I wasn't thinking about what agents or publishers or readers will think when I wrote it. I had no expectations.
Onyekon Braithwaite was born in Lagos in 1988, then spent most of her childhood in the United Kingdom when her family moved to Southgate in North London. She is a graduate of creative writing and law from Kingston University. She has had short stories published in anthologies. And there is more to her than just writing. In 2014, she was shortlisted as a top 10 spoken word artist in the Eko Poetry Slam. From fiction, let's go to non-fiction and a very important subject in Nigeria's national life and even the global economy. Kofo Olugbesan is our guest author today. Her book titled Smuggling, The Crime, the Law addresses the all-important subject of smuggling. Reading it, I realized more than ever before how much smuggling impacts negatively on Nigeria's economy and image. Kofo Olugbesan is a graduate of law who served as an officer of the Nigeria Customs Services for over 2 decades, rising to the position of Assistant Comptroller General. She joins us to discuss her book and the subject of smuggling. Enjoy this. Mrs. Olugbesan, nice to have you on Channels Book Club. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you very much.
Great to have you here. Smuggling, the Crime, the Law. That's the title of your book. It's your debut book, right? Your first book.
Yes, it is.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Before we dig in, you spent over 20 years in the customs, Nigerian customs.
Yes.
That's a lot of time. What was your experience like? What was your greatest joy and perhaps your greatest pain while you were there?
I'm a woman of many firsts in Nigerian customs. I was the first area controller to be appointed. I was the first to reach the comptroller grade. I was the first to reach the controller general grade. Wow. Before I retired. Wow. So it has been something like I have to be able to lay a good foundation for other women.
Trailblazer.
Yeah, trailblazer, exactly. And that was what happened.
Wow.
Because a lot came in after me, but it took me a long time to achieve that. I have to do 4 times what a man would do
to prove yourself.
To prove myself at all times.
Very sad. People have these conceptions about, the ideas about Nigeria customs, what it's all about. I have mine. They have these stereotypes. But before we dig into your book, share with us 2 or 3 things that the average person out there probably does not know about the Nigeria customs.
Yeah, the average opinion about most people, once you say you are customs, they think you are corrupt. It goes with it. Immediately you are customs. In fact, even your family, your friends believe, you should be there, to steal money and just throw it around. And quite a number of people would do that. But sincerely, it's not like that. One, when I was in service, most of the time, we are near non-funding. The government does not funding customs.
As important as it is.
As important as, because unfortunately they say, oh, they take bribes, so they have money.
Raise money themselves.
So you have to buy your furniture that you are sitting on in the office. You have to get your papers, anything you need to use, stationery, anything, you have to do it by yourself. You have to buy your uniforms. You have to do all those.
Buy your own uniforms.
Buy your own uniforms, because nobody gives you a uniform. But then, as an officer, you must be kitted for you to even come out to, you know, to accost anybody. So you have to buy your uniforms yourself. So all those things, a lot of people don't know. And most of the time we try to make them understand. I mean, another thing was that you are on a grade for 14 years. I was on a grade for 14 years before promotion.
One grade?
One grade for
14 years?
Yeah. So
these are things people don't know.
They don't know, and you see, those things are so demoralizing. But before the end of our own tenure, before we were retired, number 1 to 30, that's how I was retired. And by General Abacha then, we had put up, a proposal that, look, like in other countries, let customs be funded from a percentage of what they are making. A percentage of the revenue should be used for customs improvement. By the time we left, it came through, and so officers now are enjoying all that. And I believe it is time to say that to whom much is given,
much is expected. So there were reforms after you left.
A lot of reforms had happened. Yes.
Okay. Now, for viewers out there, what's this book about? Smuggling, the crime, the law. I mean, I had a lot of eye-popping experiences when I was reading it. But let's share with us what this book is about.
Yes, I decided to put my thoughts into this book and my experiences, which I had when I was in customs, and you know, some of them are the cases. They are actual cases that happened while.
Yes, I can see there's a long list of cases.
Yes.
You were using cases to illustrate.
To illustrate, you know, because I believe that is a way people can understand. And I also believe that the young ones, they need to see, they need to see that, okay, quick money, you can make quick money, but somewhere, if you are caught, you are in for it. So they need to see that the possibility of being caught is very strong.
Yeah.
And
you're talking about smugglers, those who are into smuggling now?
Those are into smuggling.
Okay.
I'm talking about the smugglers. Those are into smuggling. It's making quick money. You don't pay what should belong to the state, which is your money and my money. It's everybody's money, because it is, what I mean by that is that by paying your dues, by paying the revenue, by paying the duty, that is what the government use to fund the country. And if somebody now decides to take that is stealing from you and me, because that is collective wealth that is going into somebody's pocket. 1993 was the first time I wrote this particular book. At that time, there was no internet. Of course.
Yeah, of course.
So during the lockdown, I picked up the idea that let it go into Amazon, and Amazon accepted it and published it in 2020.
So in 2020, you republished the book, basically?
I republished the book with some...
it's like a second edition of the
Not
book.
strictly a second edition. That one is still coming.
The intricacies about smuggling and all the... and there's a particular part, or many parts rather, where you shared actual cases of smuggling and you revealed the strategies used by smugglers. I mean, reading that, knowing that the person who wrote this spent over 20 years in customs, I said, this is very insightful. Can you share with us one or two of those strategies that you shared in your book? I remember very well what you call the metal case or something.
The metal case.
Metal case method.
Yes.
Camouflage method, and all that. Can you share one or two?
Yes, okay, maybe I should go to the metal case. Metal case is really, it's a case of about 20 containers that were smuggled to Germany with Indian hemp.
20
containers. And it was a big issue then. And federal government...
From Nigeria?
From Nigeria it was. When they made this, it's what is, you know, when you have, if you're exporting metal, scrap, they call it scrap metal, it's for exportation. You take the container to your warehouse, you load. You don't load it at the airport. You load at your warehouse, you bring it down, customs examine, and then it is exported. But that particular one, unknown to everybody, they had put a false back.
A false back?
Yes, they constructed a false back.
So you open it, you wouldn't see it?
You can never see it. You can never see it.
It was like grafted to the body of the container?
To the body of the containers. And when the containers got to Germany, they got their information, and they were sure their information was right. So every time they need to, remove the scrap metals and also put it back, and then they will put their dogs. In the process of loading and unloading of the scrap metals, one of the sharp ends punched one of the containers, and the dog went in, and the dog went mad. So they now brought out everything and saw that all the 20 containers has falls back.
From what I read, if there had not been that puncture,
there would have been no
the dogs
way.
were not smelling anything. It
not.
well sealed.
Completely. I happened to be I had to go to Germany then for the investigations, and I was part of the federal government set up a committee, and and that
was because the German government accused the Nigerian government
yes.
of being complicit.
Yes, because it was NNSL vessel, something to do with NNSL vessel then at that time, I can't remember. Something to do with government vessel. That was it. So that was that was one.
Okay. And then there were cases, the one you call is it the one you call camouflage, where they put drugs under
shoes,
soles of their shoes and all that.
Yes.
Incredible. Explain that, please.
Yes, you'll see the normal shoes, they remove the sole and then they put drugs, and then you have many shoes. Somebody is just traveling with many shoes.
So you're just walking normally. At the airports, they ask you to remove your shoes.
You remove nobody
opens the soles.
No. And then at that time, we now saw that, immediately one of the things at that time was that we have a very strong squad that they just watch your demeanor. Anything you are doing, they are just standing there. They are watching you as you are going.
Yeah, observe how they watch.
They don't do anything than watch you. And when your eyes catch, then maybe they see that you waver or something, then they know maybe something may be up.
And you told the story of a woman who puts, was it drugs in her
hair?
Weave-on or something.
Yes.
And she looked so beautiful, nobody suspected anything until
she
started
panicking. She was now sweating, very cold hair. She was sweating profusely, and then the officer was wondering, what's your problem? And then she bent down to pick her pen that fell, and then they saw the white substance sticking out. So you have so many like the priests, like the Muslim priests that had Quran that has drugs in the Quran.
You mentioned drugs a lot.
Yes.
In this book, somebody said to me, this is nothing official, no facts behind this. Just a conversation I was having with somebody, and he said Nigeria is very big in terms of acting as a hub for drug movements between Brazil and the rest of the world and so on. How true is that?
Right now, I couldn't give the figures to you because as at that time, we had, because we had a report saying Nigeria is being used as a transit hub. And when that happens, they drop, which was what developed the drug business, the drug use in Nigeria. Because as they are taking it, they are dropping for local consumption. And that came at that time. But what is happening now, because it has now moved to NDLE, that's part of what is going to be my second edition.
Book.
It has now moved to NDLEA, so I don't have the figures, and one doesn't really know much about it. But then I know for sure that even up till now, drugs is still a major issue along with this Yahoo, which is the main thing that is happening now.
In page 22, you shared here with us here a study. I think about 20 smugglers were involved to find out what motivated them, how they think, and all that. And you wrote here that a few of them who had some pending cases in some of the custom stations in the country were interviewed. 35% of them saw the business as their only way of getting their own share of the national cake. Wow.
That's the way they see it. They said there's so much corruption everywhere. The politicians
take their own.
Take their own. Everybody takes. This is my own way of taking my own back.
Wow.
That is my own part of my own from the national cake. They see it as that. They don't see it as a crime, and that is important. They need to see it as a crime. They see it as my own business. You do your own business as a journalist. I'm doing my own business as a smuggler. And they don't see anything wrong with that. And the unfortunate thing is that the government's attention is not really being paid.
It's not focused on it.
It's not focused on that. It's really, really, really unfortunate that is happening, that it's not focused on that.
And then you said from the same survey that quite a number of them are ignorant of the laws, the implications of smuggling.
Yes, because even when, I even gave an example there that where some of them said that, I've been smuggling since, and then government have removed the ban. I don't even know. So they are not aware.
That smuggling is even a crime.
They are not aware that smuggling is a crime. They are not aware that for whatever reason, the president has a right to ban or unban anything.
Okay, certain products that shouldn't be taken out of the country.
They are not aware.
Oh, okay.
So they are not aware that now I can pay, that the man said I can pay 200% on cigarettes when I've been smuggling it all these years. They are not aware. Some see it as business from one generation to the other, especially those around the border towns. It's just that we pass it from one generation to my children, and it goes like that. One of the things, my suggestion then was that they should try to educate them more and let them feel, a commitment to the country itself.
Mrs. Olugbesan, thank you very much for joining us on Channels Book Club, and looking forward to your next one. Well done.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks for inviting me. I appreciate it.
A very important issue that requires urgent attention, isn't it? Well, as we round up today, did you know that all episodes of this show are uploaded on YouTube within 24 hours of broadcast just for you? If you have been missing our episodes, you can always catch up on YouTube. Just go to the Channels TV YouTube channel or search for Channels Book Club on YouTube. You can also catch Channels Book Club on the podcast series of Channels Television. This podcast service will give you the opportunity to listen to episodes of Channels Book Club from anywhere. To get on board and enjoy this podcast service, visit www.channelstv.com/podcasts. As always, we'll be delighted to get your feedback through any of our social media platforms displayed on your screen. I am Olakunle Kasumu. Remember, one great book can change your life. Bye-bye.